All right. Of Blade and by Blood. Hey, everyone. Chris here from the channel. Christopher Navo from The Next Chapter. I am joined with Mike from Mike's Book Reviews, John from Talking Story, and Dr. Philip Chase from The Best of Fantasy. This is our third discussion with The Bound and the Broken. This one is going to be covering The Exile, which is the second novella to Ryan Cahill's giant series that is still ongoing as we read. Welcome, guys.
Hey, man, I'm glad you decided to do this because I was so upset when I felt like we were going to skip it. So I'm glad you guys have read it now and understand what I meant when I said you can't skip talking about this one. It's so good. It's amazing. Two great books, but yet this novella was my favorite in the series up to this point.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was going to just go around. I think at this point, we really would go probably right into kind of like a spoiler kind of talk. But just real briefly, everyone, just kind of go around, just kind of your overall thoughts on how The Exile landed for you in this series that we've been reading.
Well, I already went, so go ahead, Philip.
Okay, all right. No, this was great.
Mine's got a signature, though. So.
Oh, come on. Okay,
man.
By blade and by blood, the wyvern will fly again. Yeah.
Nice.
Profiteers will fly again.
Nice. Don't you have a sweatshirt or something with the?
I have a hoodie.
He has a hoodie.
It was actually a contest he had on Twitter about basically if you could punk enough people, make them believe, because he did people out the ice as an April Fool's project. Oh. And basically whoever could fool the most people. And of course, I just put it on my Discord, and so many people were fooled by it because you can see how many downloads happen. And so yeah, I won that hoodie actually. Yeah.
Sweet.
Then, unfortunately, I'm in Houston where it's too hot to wear it. But hey.
I live in a place where it's not too hot to wear that, Mike. You could sit that on up, my brother.
Actually, it's even cooler where I live.
Yeah, New Jersey's even cooler. That is true.
No, you got to get one that's on a tweed jacket. Just put the House of Trees logo on the back.
Like just right over.
Your students would love it, Philip. Your students would love it.
Oh, they would. No doubt. No doubt.
And a beautiful old English script,
Okay, I'm sorry I keep stepping all over everybody. Philip.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. No, this was a fun read. I mean, actually, this took a kind of dark twist, too, though, in a way. I feel like this is, of all the books I've read so far in the series, you get a glimpse of true evil in this one on a level that's just like, whoa, okay. And it raised some interesting, I thought, yes, these books are they're very fast paced. They're very plot driven. They're very just fun to read. But I feel like I am starting to enjoy some of the exploration of morality that we're seeing in the series as well. And there are moments I'm not going to talk about because we're not doing spoilers, but we'll get into it. But this is something I'm noticing that Ryan Cahill is including in here is this notion of when good characters, act out of a kind of a vengeance or, commit acts that are similar to what the evil characters are doing. There's some nuance brought into this. There's some interesting, I think, questions that are raised in here. So I had, and there are moments in here that got me thinking, let's put it that way, about issues of morality. So yeah, it was a fast-paced, fun read. Some really dark, twisted moments in there, with also provoking me into thinking a little bit about issues of morality. So definitely a big thumbs up for me.
At the risk of going last, I'm going to say everything everyone's already said. Mike, this was my absolute favorite up to the point where I got to this. Like, it has all the action. It has all the pulse-pounding pace of the first books. But you can just see the strides he's taking as a storyteller, as a writer, because he has those moments where he slows down and he has the emotional impact. He gives us that. He gives us the relationships. He gives us the banter. He gives us the character building. So when the things happen that take those moral tolls that you're talking about, Dr. Ch, they land even harder for me because I feel like I'm on this journey with these people and they're starting to really get under my skin and really starting to become a ride or die, from where earlier on we might have had kind of a breathless and this happened and this happened and this happened and this, and you won't believe it, and then this happened. I had those moments of character building and that slow down. This by far, and just look, I'm going to join the fan club. Dana Terry's, he's my guy. Like that's it. Like when I got to this book, it's like this is my guy. This is my guy. So this was my absolute favorite up to this point.
And The Count of Monte Cristo is one of my favorite books of all time. So it's not hard to hook me with a revenge tale, you know.
Yeah.
Or, I think this is a little more like a Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie.
Absolutely.
You think that you kill him, and that's okay. Now I'm going to make you pay. Yeah. So it's that kind of fun story. I like stuff like that, just tracking everybody down. But yeah, I liked Dane in Of Darkness and Light. After this, like Ride or Die by Blade and by Blood. This is it. This is it for me. Yeah. I was ready to stitch that across my chest. And it's
had
great.
A bit of that.
And it doesn't change.
Had a bit of that late 70s, early 80s Eastwood flick feel for me, you know? Like tracking each one down. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. For me, hands down, this was, I think, some of not only my favorite so far. I'm not saying the others were not good. They were just as good as this, if not just as strong. I just feel like Ryan really comes completely into his own. I can't make any. We were making references to John Gwen or Wheel of Time or something along those lines with all of our previous discussions, and I feel like this time I didn't get any of that. I got Ryan Cahill's 100% voice in the Exile. I feel like we really got a lot of that, and yeah, like Philip mentioned, a lot of dark themes in this one. Very some really intense moments for such a short book. We got a lot of emotion in this story. I'm usually a little weary of like sort of origin prequel stories of characters we know are alive and well when we read, in the main series. So I was a little weary that, where are the stakes for this character? But we got that. We got the stakes for Dane, even though, it's very clear. I don't think this is a spoiler, but, he's still there in our book, introduced in the second main novel. So we know he's still there. We know he's going to make it through the Exile. And I think he handled stakes for this character really well. A lot of emotion for him, and it carried through the whole novella. Really strong.
Usually I'd agree on the I know the character's safe, so there's no stakes. But I kind of looked at like an episode of Lost. An episode of Lost where you're getting the main story and then you get the flashback at the same time. You're like, wow, that puts so much more depth to this character. So going forward the series, I'm like, okay, I know everything this character's been through now. And now I'm right and, with him for sure.
And I think it not only strengthened Dane, but I think it also strengthened Belina.
Yeah.
I think it's strengthened
Belina and Belina. Yeah.
And I think
Alina
and I think Theron also. I have a lot more respect for Theron now because
y'all got to remind me in spoilers what he did in this book because I didn't remember him being in this one.
Absolutely.
Oh, we'll remind you.
That was the.
I might be thinking of a one ruin. Like I read this in one sitting. That's how much I like.
Yeah, no, that's a moment for sure. While we're still in non-spoiler, what I absolutely want to say is like what you were saying, Christopher. To piggyback off of that is like you're a little reticent about an origin story. Like if it was that great, wouldn't it have been in a main book? Like if someone hadn't started this series and they're kind of having that, can I just get the main books? I mean, do I need these? Is that just somebody trying to get out product every year by throwing something out? I would say you got to get these.
This is required reading.
They give so much. They get so deep into character and so much backstory as to what's going on. They make this series more enjoyable. If they absolutely are required reading with the series.
I told Ryan that when I was actually reading Of Darkness and Light, I was like mad because I was like, dude, why is he introducing a whole new character? And there's enough characters going, this is stupid. And then by the time I read Exile, I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, who stole the show for me was Belina.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And these are my two favorite characters in the series is Dane Attiris and Belina. They're just awesome. I love a good duo. You got your Royce and Hadrian from like Rhaenyra. You got your Tejo and Bug. I'll throw that out there for you, Philip. Anything like that. I love a good duo, and these two are just the best. I love them.
Yeah, I think she has maybe the strongest voice of all the characters I've met so far in the series.
Got zero filter.
Yeah, you can put it that way. Yeah,
and that
I feel like Ryan Cahill's sense of humor comes through beautifully
Yes.
with her as well. So I feel like, yes, this character, we knew her before because she was in the previous book.
She was Dolan in the last book. She was with Dolan.
With Dolan.
Dolan. Yeah.
And kind of provoking him in a similar way to what she was doing in this one with Dane.
And that's what I like. I feel like her and Dane are they're not really alike, but they're definitely a yin to each other's yang. They complement each other perfectly, I think.
Yeah. Good duo. I mean, he's the straight man and she's the loose cannon. So
yeah. But it's great banter. He takes that leap with voice, with character voice, because it's you can just hear him and his friends in the pub taking the piss. Like he's just channeling what he knows in his friend, and it just lands so well. Like it's just, I love that he got there.
This is also the book where I said that this series is unfilmable. Just when you're seeing the actual occupation, you're like, there's just dragons and chaos everywhere. I was like, well, would be the most expensive movie or TV show ever made. There's no way they can do this.
Yeah,
people are like, I wish it was a little more drag. Oh, you get all the dragons and the wyverns in this. It's epic as hell.
Yeah, the skies are full.
And it's amazing that this book also has a time duration to it as well. It has, I think, 12-year span from when we start.
And that what they say in The Darkness of Light, that he'd been exiled for 12 years? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we get that whole 12-year span in this novella. So I think that's
cool. And it also explains the letter, correct? The letter that...
Yes. Yep, at the very end. Yeah. That's the very last chapter. Yep.
All right, y'all are bringing it back now. Okay.
And that's heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. That last chapter is heartbreaking. That's that emotional punch I'm talking about. Yeah.
That's how you know he did it right.
Mm-hmm. You guys ready for that spoiler then?
I think so.
I think we're dancing next to the spoilers.
We're really close already.
Yes.
We're on book 4. I think everything's a spoiler at this point anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So guys, we start off part 1 with sort of like another fall, another little mini fall of betrayal, and Mighty House has taken a dive here. We get to meet Dane's folks, and as well as maybe a little more relationship with his sister. So we kind of got that from Of Darkness and Light, and then it just kind of amplifies how close Dane was with Alana, and I appreciated that we got this little family little connection at the very beginning. And I kind of knew as soon as I was reading this cozy little sister brother, and then Mira was there.
What's gonna go wrong?
What's gonna go wrong? And and it was like I love the mirror of the little kind of like the homage to the fall. It was kind of like we had that betrayal, and then bam, all hell breaks loose. Opening, what do you think, John? Start with you.
You know what I really loved about it was a little bit of that cyclical nature, where we start with the fall and we get one empire being usurped by some new ideals, someone being a turncoat, that kind of thing. And then we start to see, that there's been in this new empire that arises from that fall. There have been flashes of resistance. There have been flashes of uprising before, and there's a history of it. And we start to see a cyclical nature of authority and how that can go wrong, and the yoke of authority when pushed too far, and rubbing up against it, and what tragedy or resistance can bring. So I really like that cyclical nature of that part of it, of seeing a fall again, and meeting a family that's caught in the middle of it, as opposed to the fall where you're just like thrown headlong into it. This time we got a little bit of like some family nuance and family relationship built in before we went into it. I really enjoyed that.
Whose turn?
Philip or Mike?
For me, I think you guys might know my favorite book of all time is Dune, and this follows a lot of the similar traits. You got Dr. Yui, who betrays House Atreides, and Paul is exiled to the desert. Very similar here. I don't think that you can get any fantasy story without the coming of age being a character losing their parents, and the way that that was actually like tearjerker for me with his mother. I thought that was like really, really touching. But they didn't go out like no punks though. They were like we're going down in blaze of glory for sure. But it was really powerful. And again, what parent isn't going to lay everything down to save their kids. You know, I think that's just kind of how it goes in real life. But nothing we wouldn't do for our kids, right? But it was very, very heartbreaking. I don't know if that was just me just having one of them parent days where I was being an old softy or what, but I thought it was really, really well written. But yeah, I got lots of similar vibes to Dune, which again, I know that Dune didn't create that little plot right there, but that's something I've read so much. That's what I got. So I was in right away, and already Atiri sounds like Atreides, so I'm good with it. You know?
and like Dune, that family was such idealists, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great aspect of this, the introduction of Arkin and Ilya, and their being a kind of role model for Dane, but he can't, because he has to kind of become more secretive, and he has to be, you know, more circumspect. He learns something from their fall, doesn't he? I mean, he's going to resist the Empire. He's never going to stop trying, but he can't, at this point at least, you know, lead an outright rebellion. And I also loved the relationship that Ryan Cahill portrays between the Wyverns and their riders. I don't think it's quite the same as what you get with the dragons. It's not the same magical bond or whatever, but it's still a very deep, you know, and
it's like us losing a dog, you know?
I mean,
crush her soul.
Look what happens to Ilya when her Wyvern is, I mean, what an epic moment. These Wyverns were really quite formidable, and they were wreaking havoc, and you thought, oh yeah, Voltara come at us, and then suddenly the dragon comes down, boom, on top of the Wyvern, and it's like, whoa, okay, all right, different scale here.
Got to give you a little hope before he snatches it back out of you.
Yeah, but it does such a great job of giving you the scale of the dragons too. You know,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was just a massive entrance, and the setting up of that particular dragon rider as Dane's ultimate, you know, she is the ultimate target for him in a sense. Although, you know, again, this goes back to the there are good characters and bad characters, but I thought that dragon rider, I'm trying to remember her name, Sylvan.
Yeah.
I like what Ryan Cahill does there with her character, because she's not just pure evil there, you know. She is serving, you know, Fane Mortem and the Empire and all of that. So you could argue she's bad, but she doesn't really want to hurt, you know, or torture people. She even says it to him, I think, when they're on, you know, at some point or other, I don't want to do this, but, you know, I kind of have to do this. But so I don't see her as pure evil. I see her as seeing this as part of her going all the way back to the fall. You know, that these dragon riders believe that they ultimately, yes, it was a horrible thing they had to do, but it was the right thing to free them from the corruption of the rulers of the world. And that she's just still following through with that. Although you can see, I think she's gotten kind of jaded about it and everything. And to see her, this kind of powerful, there's some nobility is still in her, to where she ends up later on. After Aeson has gotten a hold of her and killed her dragon, and she goes, just all that power comes out of her and blinds her and everything else. I mean, whoa, to see her go from this to that was very powerful.
There's still a line from Christopher Rocchio. Are you saying that Sylvan is basically, if Anakin becoming Darth Vader was the right decision?
Yeah, I mean, not so much. I mean, but I don't think that. I'm not. It's hard to say. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that they're not just like mustache twirling, cackling.
No. And you'll see in the next book. There's some things that you'll see. Yeah.
And I like that. I like that. You know, you have Farda, you know, in this book too, who again.
Yes, nice Easter egg that a lot of people miss.
Same boat that where Dane's parents die. You've got Farda flipping his coin and deciding, yep, okay, kid, you get to live, or at least we'll toss you in the water instead and give you a fighting chance here.
You a fighting chance.
You know, But he's another one where I feel like there's a sliver of humanity left in this guy, you know, and there's a possibility of redemption. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to go, you know, be evil or whatever.
Who's that?
Farda.
Farda.
Okay.
I think he's going to do something noble right before the end. I've said that before, but yeah.
I do. This one really got to me with the main theme overall, the series of the Bound and the Broken. And even like you were saying, Dr. Chase, these villains that aren't quite mustache twirling, it's like if these people can be broken, they haven't completely lost their humanity.
And Farda is broken. He's literally
and Farda is broken, and so is Sylvan. By the end, it's like your heart will bleed for them because they're trying to hit that high watermark they've set for themselves of duty, honor, service. They're trying to do that, and at the same time, it's the leaders that are leading him down possibly a primrose path of good intentions. But they're attempting, and anyone that can be broken by loss, by definition, hadn't lost all of their humanity. So the overall theme of this, the bound and the broken, really started to come through with this book for me.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and then the flip side of that is we have good characters who do some exceptionally dark things.
Dane's technically a protagonist, but he murders the shit out of people in this book, man. I mean,
they keep a count. They keep a count rolling.
He keeps a count. Yeah,
I love the body count.
Yeah.
Makes me think of
it's all just to get, and it's all just to get to a main target. It's like if you're in my way, you're gonna get killed if I can't get to this main target.
Yeah, right. And when he gets to one of his main targets, what's his name? That commander dude,
Harstead.
He does not just kill him; he tortures him. He absolutely tortures him. You know, in the process of killing him, and he drags it out. You know,
I think Dane's the type that if he found 3 of his enemies, he'd kill 2 and just really mess up the 3rd one so they can spread the story. He's that type. Yeah,
he is that type, which makes you wonder how you're rooting for him.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it does.
That's where I get the Abercrombie, the best served colds. You know, like looking at Monza and best served cold. Like, should I be rooting for this character? Yeah.
He's not the only one though. Also, Theron has a moment there where, of course, all right. I'm pretty sure that we all agree that people who torture children are probably deserving of some pretty, harsh treatment.
Eternal damnation.
Yeah, sure. So when Theron loses it and not only kills the what's the class of mage that the woman is, the researcher or the whatever. She's whatever it might be. You can throw it in.
Yeah, go ahead. Blood marked.
I mean, she's creating the blood mark. She's fiddling around with these experiments, trying to, and torturing innocent children, and probably, I mean, kind of like the Nazis, when they were doing their horrific experiments on people and that kind of thing. And you think to yourself, maybe some harsh punishment is there. But what Theron does to her, I mean, he tortures her severely, and in a moment where even Dane is like, whoa, dude.
Calm down, bro.
Yeah. So, that happens in here. And it sort of harkens back to the previous book for me of Darkness and Light, where that's why I was trying to remember the name Tarman before, where Tarman kind of pulls Kaelin aside and says, look, we have to be the good people here.
Yeah.
We have to do what's right. And maybe these people are, currently working for the other side, but they're still human, and
they're still people.
We need to do the right thing here, and you contrast that with Dane in here, and even Theron, who is, I thought, this wise, mentor but he has his moment there as well.
And so something I found interesting to this whole thing was, it's not just Dane on this seek of revenge throughout the book, and all 4 of our supposedly good characters are all on this revenge kick. We have Dane for his family. We have Belina, who
for her family,
lost her father.
She kills her dad. Yeah.
There's a bit of patricide that happens.
We have Theron for his people, and then we have Aeson, who, at the end, like Philip said, has his revenge on Sylvan. So we have 4 of our heroes all, being pretty bloodthirsty and, seeking redemption,
Yeah.
Is it redemption or revenge? I mean, it kind of shows. It's that line keeps moving, like your good protagonist that you are rooting for, like Theron, that you're just describing that moment. It's like, they can get caught up in this and get pulled really far to where you have questions, you know?
Like, is what Aeson does to Sylvan an act of mercy, or is he just prolonging her torture?
Oh,
Like,
no. He does a fate worse than death by every regard.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
And I love we get that from Dane's point of view too. It's like, do I suddenly feel bad for her now? Suddenly in this sad, pathetic way she is now, being both blind and deaf. So, you know, she has no way of knowing who Dane is. So he's not going to get any satisfaction from her knowing that it's him. And then but then he's like, you know, this is Aeson's thing. This is a great way for me to get revenge for her to continue to suffer, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's it's a balance, you know.
Not only the physical loss that she has, but the weight of grief of having half of her soul ripped from her.
From her dragon,
from her dragon being torn away, and it's like I mean, Dane buys in. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave her just like that and walk away. It's like it's brutal.
It's worse than death.
Worse than death.
Yeah. So
and he has no problem dealing out death. That's been well established.
Yeah. I'm curious to see it. I have to read, you know, the next book to see, are there repercussions on these characters for these acts? Like, will there come a point where they may regret, you know, allowing their anger to rule them? You know, because it seemed almost out of character for Theron. Although, look, those were children being tortured horrifically, so I get it. But Theron, up till that point, had been the cool customer. He had been the wise mentor, you know. But then in that situation, he loses it, and I don't blame him. But you know,
everybody's got a breaking point, man. Everybody,
and he found his. But I mean, you're so right. Up to that point, like he wouldn't even choose. Like when his people divided, he wouldn't even choose one way, or the other to be a part of. He was going to walk a path alone, so you know, to have grace for both. And it's like, yeah, he lost it.
Yeah.
So on a lighter note, we get probably one of my favorite scenes in this whole book, and I think it was one of the few lightest chapters in the book, and that was the scene at the end with the dripping bucket, where Dane's just trying to get himself clean from, you know, he just came off of murdering Harstead,
killing spree,
burning him, burn them all is what Harstead said to his family. So he's burned Harston very harshly as well too. But he goes to the dripping bucket and he meets Belina in the bathtub scene, and I love this interaction. There is just some great, you know, like we mentioned earlier, the banter between the two. You know, him, staring at her, and you know, she's like, she's not shy about it. She's just standing there all proud about it, and you know, and she said, "No, you like what you see," kind of thing, and yeah. But yeah, it was great. And from there I knew, you know, these two were just going to have this fantastic connection, and I think it was a great time for this scene to happen, for, you know, everything else being so bleak up until that point.
Yeah, that's a great point, Christopher. Without Belina's presence in this book, it would have been really depressing.
Yes.
Having her there, she's this breath of life in here with her humor and the banter, as you said. And of course, even she has those moments where they're very concerning when she kills her father, you know. Yeah. And Dane realizes this is different here, you know. So she definitely has her moments. So you can see where the witty, you know, Belina, the jocular, you know, fun, happy-go-lucky is a facade to a large degree. I mean, this woman has some serious scars, you know.
She was initially meant. Yeah, she was there to kill him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine what he did to her? Essentially, she says outright to Dane, he just simply used me like a tool, and you know.
So actually, Christopher's dog trying to get on the camera over there.
That's my cat.
Okay, I just saw a snow.
The cat has something to see. Something to say.
They're both very needy animals. The dog is downstairs though. But anyway, go ahead.
I have a feeling Belina would like the cat anyway.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm so glad for her presence in here as a not. I don't think comic relief is exactly the right word, but
another one that I liked in Of Darkness and Light. But after this, I'm like, okay, these two just shot straight up to 1-2 on my power rankings. This is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why people are like, do I have to read that? You want to read? You want to read the novellas?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it would be. Yeah, absolutely.
Because they aren't spinoffs; they're supplemental material.
Yeah, quite honestly, now that we're into this, I feel like they're just part of the series. Honestly.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you're reading, you're hearing how hard it was to get this dragon egg. The whole time I'm asking, like, well, how did they get this egg? And that's what the ice is. It tells that story. Who reading the series doesn't want to know that story? You know, so of course you're going to read that. So
yeah,
for sure.
But
yeah,
go ahead, Dr. Jason. No. Go ahead.
I'll just finish off that point, really, which is the novellas add a lot of character development, which will, I think, make any reader appreciate the series more and feel more immersed in the series and more connected to the characters. So absolutely, they are part of the series. Yeah.
Yeah. And the excitement of watching an artist on his journey too, because I think you're reading him in publication order where he wants him to fall. And I think he's taking a step as a storyteller with each outing, right? The depth of character with Belina that we were just talking about. Yeah. It's not just the buddy that's the comic relief, or I mean, it's so much more. There's depth of character there. There's that moment in that meeting. It's like, you know what? You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And what is it scratching her back? It's helping her kill her own father. Like there's such a background of tragedy there, and we all wear masks. And her masks is that lightness, that sense of humor after she's so damaged or broken. So it's like he's really getting to some deeper themes and some more breadth of character in these, and he's channeling this. And for all the wonderful lines she has in this, she has so many more in War and Ruin. She only gets better as you go forward as far as the lines. Oh, it's great.
Cool. I love to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgive me if I'm wrong because it's been a while, but wasn't she actually sent to kill Dane at first?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I like the way that's introduced. She tells them, give me a reason why I shouldn't kill you. You got to, let me know, let me know, why you should live, kind of thing. She wants him to, I think she, already knows the situation of his family and what happened to him. And I think she, but she wants to kind of test Dane to see, what kind of man he is, kind of thing. And, give me a reason why I should let you live. Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what did we think of the her scene where, we take our, favorite character who was kind of the light of the book and go on to this little, side trip of, taking out her father. I feel like there was no hesitation on her part. I mean, she got to him and she killed him.
I think Belina's the type of character who's like, I didn't kill my father. He was already dead. She was that type. Like he was dead the minute he did blank. I think that's the type of character she is. So she's already thought through, she's already come to the fact of, hey, yeah, I'm going to kill my dad. She's already kind of worked through that emotionally and mentally. So it ain't no thing, So I think Dane's probably actually more bothered by it than she is.
Yeah, it seemed that way.
I also feel like she's someone who's taken charge of her life after being used for years in ways that we have just gotten hints about so far anyway. But it seems like, yeah, she had a kind of rough upbringing, bad relationship with her father, but also she was used as an assassin for a long time. She was part of an organization, right, that she has left. And one has to assume you don't just leave an assassin's guild, right? You don't just say, well, I think I'm done now, guys. Good luck, Yeah. So this is a person who's really, gone out of her way to take charge of her life and dictate her own direction now after being used by her father. And I think that act of killing him was the most important part of taking charge of herself, perhaps in a way, and ridding the world someone who seems like kind of a monster as well. But again, vengeance, you know, what does that do to a person? You know,
Yeah.
I think that's something I'm going to be looking for in a big way in Of War and Ruin. But yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's like that she, just like Mike said, she had it all worked out. She had it all thought out in advance. And this is someone that life can be bought and paid for. And, you know, that has to just cheapen it. And it's like, you know, in a court of law, we would call that premeditated, you know, like it's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, it's not, she just doesn't, there's not a sanctity of life in her. She's trying to take ownership of her own and move past this broken beginning that she has. But in so doing, she's got an incredibly cynical view of life in general because of how damaged she is. And again, just complex characters that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Now, all of this goes back to the fall too, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're basically looking at a world of violence and vengeance, and it all goes back to what happened when Fane Mortem took over, you know, and started his empire, the Lorien Empire. So the repercussions have been happening. The ripple effect have been in the rebellions and all these things that these individuals have been wrapped up in. It's all part of this history, and it's a history of bloodshed and violence and ruin and destruction and resilience as well, as these characters keep trying to fight. So yeah, I feel like the series is doing a great job of giving a sense of the history of this, and the individuals within this large tapestry of history, whose lives are deeply affected by the violence, who become part of the cycle of vengeance. It's pretty compelling stuff in that sense when you look at the big picture. I'm curious to see too, something I've been thinking about. We haven't seen much of Fane Mortem, really, have we? You know, not since the fall. We saw him briefly in the fall. Yeah, I see that. I have a theory that's kind of wacky, but
oh, I can't wait.
You want to hear it?
I'm with Mike now.
Please. Let me hear
I've read the
theory.
book. I can't wait to hear it. Yeah.
Part.
Okay,
Hear it,
so
Philip.
why haven't we seen?
I'm only in the beginning.
Why haven't we seen Fane Mortem? Could we actually have seen him and not realize that it's him? In other words, is one of the characters that we've met posing as someone else, but is actually Fane Mortem in disguise? Now, maybe
do you have suspects?
I have a suspect.
Oh, okay.
So, I have one suspect anyway. I don't. This probably is the dumbest theory ever.
That'd be kind of cool, though. I'd be on board with that.
Okay. I don't know why it would be that important, but I do wonder about the battle mage who's training Kaelin's friend. What's his name?
Wrist.
Wrist. The battle mage who's training Wrist. Brother. What's his name? Brother.
Oh gosh, I can't remember.
I remember.
Yeah, but I know who you're talking about.
You know who I'm talking about? Brother something. I have a suspicion.
Garamond? Brother Garamond?
Garamond. That's it. I have a feeling there's just more to him than appears at the moment. Maybe I'm wrong. Totally wrong.
Do you think he's actually Fane Mortem?
Fane?
I don't know. He's one of my candidates. It's
good one. Good theory.
So,
yeah, that's good.
I just wonder, why have we not seen Fane Mortem in the series except for in the fall? And of course, he's the one that started everything. Of course, you know, he's the evil spider in the middle of the web, you know, and he's the one that started all this. So it makes sense.
Sauron too.
Yeah. I mean, he's the big baddie in a way. So it makes sense that we wouldn't have seen him. But I just feel like this dude. I mean, he's not gonna just.
I mean, there is one
empire run without any, you know, string pulling anywhere, is he?
There is one baddie above Fane. The
god.
The god.
Ephialter.
Yeah. Yeah. Ephialter.
Yeah.
That would be the big baddie.
That's true. Yeah.
Fane's just totally drank that Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Yeah. He got a bigger dose of it than anyone else.
He got a big old dose. Yeah.
Anyway, just one of my probably many. Just add another to my tally of inaccurate predictions.
Makes for a great story, though.
Yeah.
So,
but doesn't that, I think that just proves it, how much we enjoy it when you start.
Yeah.
When you start imagining.
When you start fan theorying.
Book
absolutely.
Absolutely.
You're immersed in it, for sure.
I've done that for decades with Song of Ice and Fire, that now I'm just like, I'm just along for the ride if I don't got to wait years between.
Mike, just write your own ending. I bet.
I could have done worse than the show did, right?
Yeah, it would be better. It would be better than the HBO ending, for sure.
Yeah. I'd want to read yours, Mike.
Yeah. This part 3 was the dark part of this book. I mean, if it could get any darker, but because it is called Temper and Blood, and we had that first chapter of this section with Belena's father. The second part was with where we get this tension with Aeson and Dane, where Dane kind of blames Aeson for failing his parents.
Yeah, he's the one who stoked the rebellion. Yeah,
So
in this cyclical way, and we're back in this cycle again with our not Dane, but the other main character we have. Our dragon rider. I can't remember.
Kaylin.
Kaylin. Yeah.
Kaylin. Yeah, for sure.
And then he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, but listen to me one more time. You can't go home for another 5 years still."
Yeah.
So, I don't think that his love for Aeson went up any just because he caught Sylvan. So.
Yeah, Aeson's a tough mentor figure.
Yes.
But he's dedicated to this whole I'm bringing this Lorien Empire down.
Yeah.
And that's how broken is he for that? He is seriously broken. He is seriously
of all the Rakina we've met, he's the most functional.
Yeah, but he's functional because he's got tunnel vision for revenge. That's I, for a while I was thinking, it's his sons, and I do think his sons are part of it.
Oh yeah,
but it's like he cannot let go of this. He cannot get off the revenge train at all.
Right.
Yeah, there's part of me that likes that flawed obsession where is there going to be a buildup? For me, I feel like is Aeson going to do something questionable further down the road that's really going to test his morals and all that? What maybe there's going to be a cost maybe to one of his sons or something that's where he's going to act a foolish mistake or something because of this. I feel like he's getting a little blind too, and I feel like it's just going to become an obsession for him, this revenge kid. For sure.
No comment.
Yeah. I absolutely, and because now he thinks this is the time, right? We got a dragon. This is the time. So he's even more all in. Yeah, I could totally see that.
But you also can see where Kaylin is. It's not so much about the military prowess. It's just he's a symbol. We need a symbol.
Yeah.
And you feel like, wow, they're actually kind of. And Kaylin has thought about this too. He's thought they're actually kind of using me, aren't they?
Oh, big time. Yeah.
He's not ignorant of that.
No.
But they're using him for the good side, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But like I say, the characters are complex. There's a lot of shades of gray here, which is so cool when you read it. Yeah.
I'll just say there are some new POV characters in War and Ruin that will really surprise you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I remember an interview. It might have been with you, Mike, but I remember him talking about a War and Ruin, and he says, "Oh, you thought there was a lot of POVs in Darkness and Light." And
no, it's not just that. It's just characters that at this point that you would have not expected to get POV chapters from.
Oh, sweet!
And they're good. They're good.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. And it will do that thing that I love, where it's like, okay, well, I thought you were a mustache twirling, and I see you've got more layers to you.
Oh, I love that.
I understand. But I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's the best kind of villain for me, when you can see them. They actually have a motivation besides I'm evil.
Yeah,
Right.
I love that.
Their sophistry is pretty good. You want to buy in because it's like, that's actually pretty good. But
see, John was seduced by the dark side of the Force. See?
I was.
Yeah. No, that's great when an author can pull that off. when you've kind of dismissed a character as, oh, that's this, one-dimensional villain.
Just a baddie. Yeah.
Just a baddie. And then you get the backstory and you start feeling yourself being, whoa, wait, am I being sympathetic to this character? So yeah, I like it. That's why I like Farda. I feel a little bad for him. I feel, there's potential there. He and Asen are both Rakina, and
they've both been broken.
They've both been broken, and they're on the opposite sides of the conflict. But I feel like the two of them would have a lot to talk about.
They need counseling.
Oh, yeah.
They should go to couples therapy.
That'd be an interesting meeting. Yeah.
Well, I also think it seems like Asen, obviously, he's still like a wreck over losing a drug. Whereas he's like, far as like, I would say he's like okay with it, but he seems like he's just come to terms with that's his life, and he's.
But he's seriously broken, though.
Yeah, he's broken, but I feel like he's he's not wallowing in sadness like Asen is. I feel like he's kind of just harnessed that into something else, and that's why he is the way that he is.
I think that coin is the only reason he's not crazy, though.
That coin represents how crazy he is.
Yeah,
that coin represents how crazy he is because he's so broken he can't even make his own. He can't even have a moral center. He can't even make his own decisions. That's how shattered he is.
That coin is like his pacifier.
He has to rely on something else. Everybody, and this is another thing that I love about everyone in that says that is broken in a different way. It's not just like they're so ripped. This is how they are. They're all struggling and trying to find them, a way forward in a different way and broken in a different way, which is quite inventive.
I feel like there's going to be a moment where Farda is not going to have that coin. And that's going to be his.
He's not going to know what to do.
He's just going to be
that's going to be his pivotal moment decision.
Now Ryan claims he did not get that from Harvey Two-Face, but I'm like, well, how can I not imagine this?
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I get it too, but I think I do see differences a little bit.
But there's the character Sylvan.
He's always Two-Face. He has no Harvey in him. He's always Two-Face.
Yeah.
Sylvan, though, when she's broken and all that power rushes out of her.
She's like blind and shit, ain't she?
She's blind
and deaf. Yeah.
Blind and deaf.
I don't know if you guys read it, but there was a book I read when I was in high school called Johnny Got His Gun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you made the music video for one after it. Yeah.
So that's in that book. I don't know if it's a spoiler because it really starts out with this. It's the main character essentially was a soldier in World War I.
Got all his vitals blown off. Yeah.
Had basically lost his limbs, lost his eyesight, was deaf, was basically just
a torso. Yeah.
Torso and a head. And couldn't see, couldn't hear, didn't know if he was with the Germans or the Americans or whatever, and in a hospital somewhere, right? But to see her in that state reminded me of the horror of seeing a human being and the loss, just the scale of the loss.
Yeah,
I mean, in her case, having lost half her soul as well because of the loss of the dragon. Man, that was visceral,
It's devastating, right? Can you even call yourself have a human existence at that point? It's
yeah. So I do question, man, Asen. I mean, why? Of course, he's got her daughter there, who's old, taking care of her, and the daughter obviously feels like it's worth doing. She made a deal with Asen, I guess, but you got to question. Is that the moral thing to do to allow her to just continue like that? But the daughter seems to think it's worth keeping her mother alive.
Something to consider, and I think this is, with especially I think when someone is deaf, she can speak, but is she speaking, perfect diction too? Because you can no longer hear the sound of your voice, and I think for some people, not everybody, but I think for some people, your words are slurred. And, can people understand her when she's speaking?
Yeah, that's not really conveyed. I mean, it seems like Dane, when he sees her, understands her.
Can understand.
Yeah.
I wonder if Asen bringing her daughter, because these people that were bound are so long lived, and bringing her daughter in to care for her, and like that one last vestige of life for humanity, you're going to watch your daughter grow old and die taking care of you in this state.
Yeah.
It's like it's one more little twist.
Yeah. And I think that was the realization Dane made. I think I wrote it down here. It's like, you brought her here, so she'd be forced to live, you know? And I think that was just, you know, just dark. And it's just like, wow.
It gets dark. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah. Really does. Yeah.
In a quick, fun pulse, you're reading so fast, and there's so much coming at you, and so much going on, and it's high adventure, and it's it's not until you kind of put the book down and go, that got pretty dark.
Brutal.
Yeah. I almost had to go through it twice because, you know, I knew we were doing the discussion. So, and I read it so fast, and I loved it, but then I was like forgetting stuff because I was going through it so quickly, and I was just like, oh, wait, what was that again? You know, so I had to kind of go through it twice, and I didn't mind that because I thought, wow, this really kicked.
Yeah. How fast did you read it, Dr. Chase? Mike said he read it in one sitting.
I think it was 3 sittings for me, but I had to do stuff. I was, you know, I only had like an hour or 2 in the evening.
Isn't adulting the worst? Adulting is the worst. It ruins everything.
Yeah, it reads fast. It reads very fast. Very fast.
I read it in 2. Like I
read it in 2 too.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. Which is good.
All right, how many sittings did it take you to get through A War and Ruin, John?
That took a few more sittings.
Dude, we went on a vacation on a cruise without the kids, and I had all that reading time, and I still didn't finish the bastard. So I was reading the Expanse book too, but still, it was just like, good Lord. But you know what? It never ever feels boring though, like ever.
I was just going to say that there was never a time when I was
it's so perfectly paced. It's amazing.
Sometimes when you're doing one like that, you kind of feel like maybe I should start something else or break it up or maybe do a short story or something. I never had that. When it was time to read, I always wanted to pick that book up because like where you left off.
That was amazing about it. He'll have like 15 plus different plot lines going on, and you never ever feel like, okay, we've been away from this character for too long, or oh god, no, I don't want to read about them right now. No, every time it's like, oh yeah, let's see what's going on over here. He balances it just perfectly. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll give him credit for since the fall. I think his pacing has always been
his pacing
well balanced
fast
in every one of his books, even his earlier ones. I think they've all been well balanced so far, and I admire that immensely. I hope
I would say the pacing is fast. In every book I've read so far, very fast.
I would say the pacing was almost. I think he's gotten better at pacing because I feel I'm getting those human moments that I wanted, as opposed to just the fast of the beginning.
I would compare this one to a Red Rising book in that it feels like nonstop action, but it's not sacrificing character development while it's doing it. And I think that Pierce Brown's one of the best at that.
Yes. I feel like John Gwynne is, which is why I keep thinking of John Gwynne.
I can see a lot of Gwynne, a lot of Brian Lee Durfee in this series for sure.
Yeah. Fire Warrior Angels,
not in terms of plot or anything like that. I'm just talking about
the
pacing and kind of the heart, you know. When I think of Gwynne's books, I think of heart and attachment to characters
and how he rips it out. Yeah, I know.
And how he rips it out, and stomps it on the floor. So
I say as I'm going to finish Bloodsworn next month, and I'm already just scared. I'm like, all right, got to build up that wall before.
I know. I got it too.
And to rip my heart.
I'm ready for book 3 for sure.
Yeah, I haven't done anything yet.
I think if I had one like negative thing to say, and I don't even think this is a negative, honestly, but after reading the Exile, I think Dane might be a little more of my favorite character over Caleb.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I still love following Caleb's story. But now I'm going to be like, when's Dane coming up?
Yeah, and that's why he can pull off like what Mike just said in this big chonker of a book, because you're split a couple different ways, but you're still like, oh, cool, I'll go back to Dane, or I'll find out.
I think what I told people was like Ella's plot line in that book was my least favorite, and it was still better than just about everything else I was reading at the time, like any other fantasy series. It's just that good. It's like if it wasn't for just the all-American classic that Lonesome Dove was, it was my favorite book of last year. And and I just did my 5-star chonkers, and this was of Warm Room was on it. So,
well, at least Ella has Feiner with her, unless he won't do that.
Oh yeah, dead in the prologue, dead.
Oh,
Page one. Page one, right after the catch
on a
up.
bone and died.
This is what happened so far. Page one, Feiner's dead.
All right, that's it.
He's out.
You can't do that to the puppy.
All right, so who's hosting a War and Ruin? And is that going to be like a 4-hour show or what?
I think it's you, isn't it? I think it's you.
Yeah, weren't you? Are you doing it, and you're trying to get Ryan, or what's the plan?
This was you guys' thing. I had no idea I was hosting anything.
Yeah, no. If you don't,
you're one of us now, Mike.
All right, so has everybody done one so far? Everybody's done one so far, right?
Everyone's done one.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. You guys might have to remind me everything that happened. I don't know. Yeah, sure. I guess we'll figure something out.
All right,
so
we'll figure it out, folks. But late October, early November.
Late October, we're thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Late October. So, Mike, before we go, let me ask you real quick. You know, how many books is this supposed to be?
5.
5.
But I don't. But he did tell me he's going to keep building onto it with side books and novellas and things like that. But the main story will end after book 5.
So we have 2 more main books, and
right.
maybe
and Empire's Dust. He's aiming for March of next year.
Okay. All right. So we'll have a little bit of a break. I mean, we still have the ice, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty good timing.
Awesome. Yeah. Any final thoughts, guys? Excited for War of Ruin.
House of Furies. That's it. Just House of Furies.
I will say this. I mean, Mike read this how long ago? How long did you read War of Ruin ago? Was it a year?
I guess it was about a year and a half. I guess about that. Yeah, because it was over the summer when we took that trip. So a little over a year ago.
Yeah. So I'm the only other one here that's read War and Ruin. I will say this. What's it called?
Empires and Dust.
Empires and Dust. I will start that day one. I'm to the point where it's like when that comes out, I will immediately pick that up. I'm sure at this point,
if you get in touch with Ryan, he'll put you on the ARC list. Ooh. He's always looking for more ARC readers.
So I mean, I'm not. I can't say it's one of my all-time faves yet, but I would definitely continue it as soon as I could.
For sure. Yeah. Well, it's certainly still fresh in my head. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we had pretty good timing on this read along here. Actually.
Yeah, it's worked out good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be pretty fresh. So.
I knew Philip. I knew you were going to love it. So
this is good stuff.
It's like Dragon Rider Fantasy. There's no way you're not going to like this. Yeah. So to me,
it has to be done well, and I have to say, Ryan Cahill is a great storyteller.
Yeah, he is getting better with every book, and I don't feel like he's a bad book, but he does get better with each book, and it's just like seriously, and as a self-published author, you can probably find this amusing. Or I first saw the book, and I was like, damn it, this is what's wrong with self-pub. You guys need to get an editor and pare down some of this shit. And then I read War of Ruin. I was like, there's not a page I would have taken out of that. It's like, wow,
that's a big book.
So it's amazing. Yeah. And he wants the next one to be bigger. I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
Oh my god!
He's like, it's going to be 5 books, but it's going to be about the length of about 14.
How can they bind it?
Is this the Ryan Cahill law that you have? Every book has to get bigger.
I asked him that when we did that trip. Like, is this like the Brandon Sanderson thing? You feel like each book's
I was going to say spine size contest here.
Not really. Just kind of just the way that it happens. All right.
Cool. But they're going to get so big, he's going to have to split them like to Green Angel Tower by Tower.
That's why I'm like, so this is going to be a 7-book series when it's all said and done, because you're going to have to keep splitting things. What do you want to bet? Yeah, like Christopher did. Yeah.
But how, what kind of balancing act does he do? Because we just talked about all the darkness, and yet when I'm reading, it's fun. Like, it's fast.
Oh yeah, this isn't like Prince of Nothing or Malice.
Yeah, I was going to say,
like you're just in the muck. It's like it's dark, but you're having a blast still.
Yeah.
That's why I keep thinking of Gwyn too, because at the end of the day, you know who's good, you know who you're rooting for. They may
and with Gwyn, you can have those bad things happen, but it never was like the point where like I'm not emotionally available right now. This is just too much. You never feel like that. It's like you can be drained a little bit, but even as much as like George R. R. Martin or something, where you're just going to rip your soul out. Where you throw the book across the room and run over and pick it back up. But it's I do feel that similarity to Gwyn, and that like the bad thing happens, but I want to keep reading.
Yeah. There's heroism in these books.
Yeah. There's investment in the character, and you want to stick with it, even.
And there's there's that light and there's that hope, the bound part of the bound and the broken, you know, and it's like it's a really it's a really nice balancing act, really is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can't wait for you guys to see what happens to my boy Wrist. Can't wait for you guys to see it. You guys to read it. Yeah.
Cool. Can't wait.
To see if Philip's Farta plans come to pass.
Yeah.
Well, definitely be reading tonight for sure.
I think I have the record for stupid predictions.
Only
predictions.
Only because I stopped making them.
Yeah.
That's good. All right.
I only say Varda's going to lose his coin at some point. That was my prediction.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Christopher, thanks for hosting, my brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody on here, thanks for watching this chat, our third chat. We will have links in case you're under a rock and you've been following me, but not any of these guys. Who will have Mike's channel, John from Talking Story, Dr. Philip Chase from The Best of Fantasy, as well as Philip Chase's Ave of Edan Trilogy, where you can buy his books, linked below.
Oh,
so
wow.
check them out. And we will all, at some point, keep you guys updated when we hit Of War and Ruin for that discussion.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my name's Christopher Navo. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next chapter. Take care.